Namaste. Welcome. You've reached Lynn with Yoga Me Fit. Thank you for joining me for practice today. Today's practice will focus on deepening our connection to our deep transverse abdominis muscle, a core muscle that's very important to provide stability and support in our postures. It also works in unison with the pelvic floor muscles, the diaphragm muscle, and the multifidus muscles through the spine. We'll work today with using diaphragmatic breathing so that you can connect to the diaphragm muscle, and then work on you feeling the engagement of the transverse abdominis muscle. So let's get started. You may need a blanket. We'll be on our backs today. So if you lie back on your back and you have tightness in your neck and shoulders and you feel restriction in your throat, you might want to put a blanket just to rest the back of your head on so that that softens in the throat. You'll start by bringing your legs forward toward the front edge of your mat. Flex your toes back toward your shins, and I want you to work on lifting out of the spine. So what that means is this lumbar curve is what you're going to be creating in the supine position as you lie on your back body. Some of us have a way more anterior pelvic tilt, which means we have a big banana back. And some of us have more of a stiffness or tightness that creates more of a posterior pelvic tilt, so we have trouble getting that lumbar curve in our back. So I'm going to talk you through with how to get it. If you're having trouble coming up out of your lower back here when you're seated, you're going to want to use a prop. And sometimes a blanket isn't enough and you may need a block to sit on, but I'm going to sit up on a blanket. And what this does, this actually helps you tilt the pelvis forward a little bit so you can reestablish the natural curves in your back here. That's if you're really posteriorly tilted. This height will help you do that. That also feels so much better on your low back too, so that you're not dumping into your lumbar vertebra. If you have more of a banana back and you tend to push your ribs forward, you're just gonna gently round toward your navel like you're doing like a cat posture, like you're starting to do spinal flexion. Just enough to feel, okay, I feel a little engagement in my core here, and now my back doesn't have that pressure. It actually feels like it lengthened some. So play around with that, and if you need to look in the mirror to kind of help you establish what's neutral in your body, these two techniques will help you if you're at one end of the pendulum, too lordotic or too banana backed or too stiff and rounded through your lower back. Bring your palms by your side. Let's lift the head of the arm bones up toward the ears just to get some length through your side body. And then draw the head of the arm bones back and the shoulders into the spine. Keep your toes flexing back towards your shin so that you have some stability through the legs. Inhale, float your arms forward. Now we're going to round like that cat, like that posterior pelvic tilt, and you're going to feel your front body engage and hollow out, and you're going to feel your back body expand and stretch out. Slowly begin to roll down one vertebra at a time. Find a focal point to gaze into to keep a steadiness through the visual, a steadiness through your breath, and squeeze tight, tight, tight as you lower. Once you start to feel your shoulders release, extend through the neck and head and stretch your arms up and overhead. Now just lengthen out of the pelvis, push through the bones of the legs, out through the tips of your toes. And from the pelvis, reach up through the spine, up through the arm bones, and out through your fingertips. Feel that nice stretch through your body. On your next inhale, bring the arms back up toward the sky, and as you exhale, float them down by your side. So if lying flat on your back is too much on your lower back, you can always bend your knees and place your feet onto the mat, and that will help you take some of the stress or tension that you're feeling in your back body. So I'm going to just keep my knees bent for this, but of course you're welcome to keep the legs extended too. So whether your legs are extended or your knees are bent, let's now try to create that neutral spine and pelvis. So just feel through your back body here. If you're resting more towards your tailbone or to the top of the crack at the base of the spine, you're going to feel this big banana curve in this big space between the back and the floor. If you are flattened, you're going to feel your lumbar spine pressing and you cannot push your hand between your back and the mat. So wherever you're at, I'm going to help you try to find how to get into neutral. So since I'm flattening my back right now, I want you to envision and feel like you're trying to push your pubic bone towards your feet. Or like you're starting to try to arch your back a little bit. And then see if you can get a little bit of space between the lumbar spine and the mat. And if you can, you'll be more in the center of your sacrum instead of more at the top of the sacrum or at the bottom of the sacrum. You should feel like you're in the center. And then you should be able to slide your palm between the lumbar curve and the mat so that your palm is pressing into the mat, but the back of the hand, your lumbar curve is resting on the back of your hand. If you are too anteriorly tilted and you have this big banana back, think about zipping your zipper from the pelvic floor, drawing that pubic bone up toward the navel, and you'll feel the weight shift from the base of the sacrum more to the center of the sacrum, and then you'll minimize that big banana arch in your back. So you should feel the heaviness through the sacrum and the hip bones evenly. You have that little space between the lumbar curve. You feel your shoulder blades rooted. And then you have, of course, your cervical curve. So you don't want to pull your chin in and flatten your neck. So your throat is open. You're pressing through the back of the skull. And you have a nice curve and space in the cervical spine. You're going to bring your right palm to the navel center onto your belly and bring your left hand at the heart center. Your fingers just drape across the breastbone. Take a moment as you close your eyes and just feel the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice with your natural breath, is the breath moving more under the bottom hand or the top hand? So bottom hand would be the right on your navel, top hand, the left on your heart center. Now we're going to work on accessing the diaphragm muscle by doing a 3-part breathing practice. You want to start by slowly sipping the breath through the nostrils and filling up the belly. So you'll feel the belly rise into the bottom hand. Then the breath expands into the rib cage and then up into the chest and throat. Pause there. To empty on the exhale, empty from the bottom hand so the belly feels like it's moving away from the palm. The rib cage feels like it's softening toward the earth. And the chest just lightly releases once the air completely leaves your body. And then begin the next breath. Slowly inhale through the nose for 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Now do 2 more on your own. Think about each section like you're filling up each section with one long inhalation, drawing from the bottom all the way up, feeling that expansion. And when you empty, start at the bottom and empty, feeling the navel move away from the palm toward the spine. The rib cage feels like it's knitting back in toward the back body, and the chest softens. When you've completed the last cycle of breathing that you're on, just gently release your palms down by your side, return back to your natural breath. Maintaining the neutral pelvis and spine, bring your right leg up and bring the knee over the hip and try to bring the ankle more in line with the knee. And then slowly bring the left leg up. So we're trying to create a nice right angle here through the legs. I'm still in neutral pelvis and spine. I still feel like I'm in the center of my sacrum, and I can still slide my palm between my lumbar curve and the mat. So check in and see if you distorted it and then recreate it. We're going to bring our 2 peace fingers now right in the center of our lower belly, halfway between the pubic bone and the navel. And then I want you to split the peace fingers to where you move them away from each other, so they're a couple of inches apart. And then you're going to gently press in toward your deep core muscles. So you want to feel a little pressure there that you're pushing in. Okay, you're going to slowly inhale, start to lower the right leg down like you're going to tap your toe into the water. And as you exhale, bring that knee back over the hip. Left side, inhale, slowly lower, tap. Exhale, bring that knee back over the hip. Now continue with the inhale to lower and tap the toe. And use your exhale to bring the knee back up over the hip. As you're moving your limbs, the spine and the pelvis are not moving. You're stabilizing that. And when you stabilizing it, you're accessing that deep transverse abdominis muscle. Now, push and really palpate and feel. Maybe one side feels, oh yeah, I feel that contraction. That feels strong. And maybe there's one side that's like, I can't really connect. I'm not feeling anything. That can happen. So you can have, asymmetrical muscles in your body that aren't working equally. But once you start to identify, you can start to work on that. Okay, complete the last side from which you began. And then I'm going to show you another little technique that you can use with the breath to really access the diaphragm muscle, which will help you deepen into the transverse abdominis muscle. So imagine, maybe you're over 50, maybe you're not, but if you're not, imagine you're over 50 and you have all those birthday candles on your cake. And you're going to have to blow out all of those birthday candles with one exhalation. So bring your head back, root down through the back of your head, keeping the pelvis and the spine in neutral. Use your peace fingers and push strongly inwardly toward the back body through the belly. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Blow your candles. Inhale through the nose. One more. Inhale. So hopefully the blowing out the candles and really accessing the diaphragm muscle helped you connect to the transverse abdominis muscle. So if this feels like I don't make many connections, or I did make some really good connections, just keep practicing these actions and they will help you continue to deepen your awareness and connect to those muscles that are working for you. So if once you get into a practice with the alternating leg lifts and you can blow your candles out and you can feel a strong connection to that transverse abdominis, to make it a little more challenging, you can add both legs. So you would inhale first, exhale, release. Just a nice cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose, lower the feet toward the earth. And then exhale. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Do 2 more rounds on your own, maintaining the neutral spine and pelvis. So using both legs is a little more challenging for your strength, but you can build up to that with the alternating legs. Once you've completed the last round, release your palms by your side. Walk your feet together and then press the soles of your feet together and open up your inner thighs and your knees and come into, this is called Supta Baddha Konasana. It's like cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. And just allow your inner thighs and groins to release, opening through the inner adductors. Now, when we normally are seated or lying in a supine position and we come into this stance, this posture, notice, did it pull your pubic bone more forward and tilt your pelvis more forward? If it did, think about drawing the pubic bone back toward the navel, bringing your weight more in the center of the sacrum. And notice how that even changes the muscular engagement through the inner thighs and groins. From here, maintaining the neutral spine, take a couple of more slow, deep breaths, closing your eyes and just settling into the shape. Bring your hands to the outside of your thighs. Use your inhale breath and lift your knees back toward the center. Inhale, draw your knees in toward your chest. Stay pressing out through the sacrum like you're extending through the tailbone to keep the spine long. And then give yourself a gentle rock side to side. Massaging through the spinal erector spinae muscles, giving those multifidus muscles a little bit of love. And then just gently from here, roll all the way over to one side of the body. Come into that fetal position. Take a moment to just pause. Take a cleansing breath. And then slowly start to make your way back up into your seated posture. Once you come back up to seated, find a comfortable cross-legged position. Find the center of your sits bones, sit tall. Let your palms rest either face down or face up onto your thighs. Close your eyes. Feel the effects of that work. On your next inhale, sweep your arms overhead, join your palms together. Exhale, bring that back into the heart center. May this practice today deepen you to connect to your core stabilizers. And may you find a deeper connection to these core muscles, from the pelvic floor muscles to the transverse abdominis muscles to the diaphragm muscle and to the multifidus muscle. May you find a newfound support system to deepen your connection, because these are the muscles that support everything that you do. Seated, standing, walking, running, jumping, turning. Any action that you do, those pelvic floor muscles switch on, and then it triggers the other muscles to find that stability. Happy practicing. From my heart to yours. Namaste.